Hello and welcome back to Bourbon Barrel Talk. I'm your host, Scott Minton. Today we are at Kentucky Artisan Distillery and we are with the head distiller, Mr. Kodie Taber. How you doing today, Kodie?
I'm doing pretty good. How you guys doing?
Doing well, doing well. Well, thanks, first of all, for having us out, giving us a little tour of the place. And we're going to spend some time talking a little bit about Kentucky Artisan Distillery and all the good things you guys got going on out here. And before we do, though, I always like to get a little background. So, Kodie, tell us a little bit about yourself. What do you like outside of bourbon? A little bit about how the hell you got here, that type of thing. So when you think about your journey into the bourbon world, where did it start? How'd you get here and that good stuff? How's that sound?
Sounds good. I'm originally from Columbia, Missouri.
Okay.
I moved here 7 years ago, and by chance, I called over to Kentucky Artisan because my wife works next door at UDale, and I asked if they had any job openings, and I started as a bottler for a few months, and then I moved my way over to the distilling side, and then just worked my way up to head distiller.
About how long did that process take?
7 years.
7 years? So started out in the bottling line. So
Yeah.
It's funny, a lot of your guys kind of start in the grassroots section, giving tours and weird stuff like that. So you went straight into production.
Yeah. First, we were really slow that time with bottling, so I would do odds and ends, and then I would work in the back for a day every week, and then I just kept more and more working back there.
Gotcha. So what's your background that got you into this? Is it just you just were from Columbia and you were just looking for a job, or did you go to school for some kind of chemical or any of that type of stuff?
I met my wife that's now. I was like, I need to escape my hometown. I want to do something different. So I left so I can work it out with her. Since she had a job here, long distance isn't the easiest thing to do.
Right. So
I just said, what the hell, moved to Kentucky.
There you go. And you said she works at UDale, the Botanical Gardens?
Yes.
Sweet. That's such a cool place if you guys have never been. So
Never been there.
Yep, you have not yet.
A small little plug for those guys over there. So, well, good deal. So let's talk a little bit more about KAD, how you guys kind of got started, some things that you want to cover as far as are there labels that you want to discuss that you guys bottle for, that type of stuff, and then a little bit more about your brands, and let's drink some of it while we're talking about it.
Okay. Some brands that are Whiskey Row, Trackside, which is the master distiller's Jade Peterson's brand, and also talk about our weeded bourbon that we're putting out.
Gotcha. And what's the weeded bourbon called?
It is Artisan Series. It's just our Artisan Series, our weeded recipe.
Gotcha. And it's 70-20-10, if I remember you saying that correctly?
Yeah, and I think you said, we've been here for about an hour and 15 minutes already.
Yeah.
So we've had a couple of pours. We've walked around the other facility. And one of the things you mentioned is that your weeded has been the most popular of the bunch, that people are here for the bottle your own and take it at home.
Yes. That at our clubhouse where you can either sample it directly from the barrel, or you can bottle your own from the barrel.
Love, love, love. And for those of you that have never held a whiskey thief and try to get it to work properly without knowing how it works, it can be fun, it can be messy, it can be all sorts of things.
It's just a straw. You just stick your mouth on the end of it and start sucking really hard until you... No,
it's not like one of those things that you take when you're stuck in the woods and you want to drink clean water. No, you want all the tasty bits from the barrel.
That's right. That's
Absolutely.
right. Yeah, thieving from a barrel is always fun and unique. The people that get to do it, it's always weird watching them for that first time. We're all seasoned pros here, right? But,
A wee bit.
But some folks are not. Yeah. So
There's always a difference between the bottle of your own of doing the actually whiskey thief, or for some of those few distilleries that have the little pull crank that kind of does it all for you.
Yeah.
So when we talk about this weeded bourbon here, right? 70-20-10. Do you have a cask strength? This one you said it was 80-something proof?
Yeah, it's 83 proof. All the fill your own bottle are cask strength, of course.
Gotcha.
And I think we will maybe someday do a cask strength in bottling, but for right now, it's just the 83 proof.
And where is your all's proof entry? When you look at barreling and all that type of stuff?
We barrel at 110.
Barrel at 110. Okay. So that's actually a little lower than the industry standard. Is there a reason you all kind of landed on that?
Our previous contracts, that's what they wanted. They wanted it at 110, and we just stuck with that number across most of our brands. And it's been proven to be a pretty good tasting point at 110.
And as far as like, so what kind of proof range are you seeing? Because this is between 2 and 3 years old.
Yes.
Like, what kind of proof are you seeing in the barrels with the 110 entry, then the 83 proof at bottling?
On average, it'll be either like 105 or 113. Like we get that range.
Gotcha. Is that based on like how they're stacked in the rickhouse?
Yes. When we pull samples, like just that's on the average what it seems like it's been coming out at.
That's interesting. Do you find like obviously the top of the rickhouse is the ones that are more the 115 range, whereas the ones that are sitting in the first level?
Yes. We don't do
Typical rickhouse, right? Yeah, but you stack them, right? So you're using pallet stacks.
Yeah, we palletize. Yes.
Right. So with the pallets, are the lower ones the ones getting the lower proof? That's what I was kind of asking. Sorry.
Yeah. We haven't really done any coordination. Like if that's what we're getting. It's but that's what the odds. It seems like it's been.
Gotcha. Okay.
But we don't rotate, like how a lot of distilleries will rotate their stock. We do not do that. We just if it goes in there, it stays there unless we are pulling a sample.
Gotcha.
And then with this wheated mash bill, are there ones that go beyond 3 that you're just letting go as far as age?
Yes, we have a few. We have a few barrels that we're letting go a little older just to see what they do.
Nice.
Now, what is the usual barrel char level that you guys end up using?
We use char 3s.
Is it all char? Is there any toasted in there?
We have char 3 toasted, toasted 2s, and then we have char 2s. We have majority of ours are char 3s, just regular char 3s.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
That's got to be fun for you to see how they change with a different type of barrel,
Oh yeah.
especially when you're keeping the entry proof at 110.
Yep. So there's a real nice sweet delicateness to that wheater. It is still just a touch corn forward, but it for the most part, I mean, it's definitely got some sweet delicateness to it. It might be just more of that proof level too as well. So let's talk about the second one. The second one was the trackside.
Yes.
Okay, and what's that?
That is a blend with one of them being a chocolate malt.
Okay, so it's 2 different mash bills.
Yeah, it's a few mash bills blended together.
Gotcha, and one of them is chocolate malt.
Yes.
And are the other ones proprietary?
Maybe.
Yeah,
I just don't.
yeah.
Honestly, I don't remember.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
all good.
That's fair.
Yeah, Scott is a big fan of the chocolate malt. There are a couple.
I do like chocolate malt.
Yes.
There's something about a chocolate malt that gives off a nice, unique flavor. The nose is different.
Oh yeah.
You get some of that mocha chocolate. A little bit of the corn comes through.
Yeah, I was going to say there's some corn. There's a little bit of I don't even know that I would even equate it to chocolate as much as like that dark note. There's like a darker note that's more like spice forward. Maybe a touch of coffee.
Yeah, that was my me not being a coffee drinker. I'm horrendous with anything coffee, mocha. It's like, so mocha, like I've had some things that are
Yeah.
mocha-ish or esque.
Yeah.
Centric, is that your word?
Yeah, eccentric, yeah, whatever. You throw a few different verbs out there. Or
Yeah.
adjectives, whatever. I guess that would be an adjective, wouldn't it? Yeah, never mind.
Now, is there some type of like underlying? I don't hate to use either grass or hay, but it seems like there's something just under the radar there that's coming through, that's popping through there.
A little bit on the tongue. And
Yeah, it's almost alfalfa-y.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out. I didn't want to call it grass or hay, but there's something kind of that floral.
It is what it is. I mean,
Yeah.
we definitely tried some things that kind of have that like hayloft like smell to it.
It has layers, like on the nose,
Yeah.
layers and layers. Every time I go in, you get a little something different there.
There's a nice little baking spice coming through on that one. Also very delicate. What's the proof on these? The track sides?
Trackside is, I think, 92, 93.
92 or 93 proof?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yep. And from my understanding, like 90% of the world drinks their whiskey between 80 and 90. Like where they're like the proofs are lower.
Yeah.
Which I never would have realized that, because like we say low, most of us will say low proof if it's below 100.
Right.
It just seems super low, but it's kind of where the drinkers are at.
They want something a little smooth. They don't want a little harshness.
Right. Yeah. Well, I think as bourbon snobs, let's be honest, that's what we kind of are. You know, I mean, I wouldn't say we're snobby because we're not approachable or able to talk to you about things, but
I don't know about you, but Brian's a little rough at times.
So I'm
fair.
so I'm entitled, privileged.
Okay. Yeah, well, be quiet, Brian. Anyway, but
Turn off my mic.
what I mean by snobby is like just like there's things we like about our bourbon, right? And I
Yeah.
feel like a lot of us people that have drank a lot of bourbon are more like, oh, barrel strength or cask strength or something that's over 100 or 110 proof is kind of like our sweet spots. Like we really enjoy bourbon at that level, whereas a lot of people that are venturing into the world, they really like it at 80 or 90 proof. So it makes a lot of sense why you guys are releasing a lot of your stuff at that proof point.
Yeah, and at 92 proof, it's very aromatic. It's got a lot going on the old Schnauzola, which like kudos to you guys for being able to put, whether it be 2 or 3 mash bills together, that you're getting all that.
I mean, the other part of it is that there's a lot of places that, well, and just general purchasing. I mean, like, 86 OFO, a lot of your Buffalo Trace main lines are all under 100 proof. You get many distilleries and many places do have that there because I think there is a large collection. So it's not super surprising to me that's the sweet spot for the masses.
Yeah, you got to balance the, common consumer versus like someone who's like loves it. You got to healthy balance.
Yeah, that makes sense. So let's talk a little bit more about like the process, right? Like, so what is an average day for a distiller look like? Like, what do you do when you come in? What's the first thing you do? What's the second thing you do? And then, like, what do you spend the most of your day doing?
First thing when I come in, you get your stuff started, like your boiler, your equipment. First thing I do is get the cook running. Try to get a cook in that day. Second thing I do is doing testing of different stuff to make sure it's like fermentations are going good. Like we're getting good fermentations that they're finishing out. And most of my day is either preparing for the next thing, trying to always be ahead of myself, try to be prepared for if processing needs to be done, to have bottling ready, to have whiskey to bottle.
Now, through that daily process, you're probably are you trying to average like at least one cook, or you try to do multiple cooks per day?
We right now are doing one cook a day.
Gotcha. And then whenever you prep for that, because I imagine all your mash bills are not quite, since you contract distill, your mash bills may be different from day to day.
Yes, we have like 19 recipes right now, and they range from wheated whiskey to a single malt. They're all over the place.
So how does that work? So, I mean, like, obviously, sanitation's massive in this industry, right?
Yeah.
When you're making beer, yeast, things like that are going in and out, how do you switch up from, man, I did wheaters today, and then tomorrow I'm doing rye, and the day after that I'm doing single malt? Like, I mean, just fermentation alone, right? With you guys are using cypress tanks, right? Like,
Yeah, we have a couple cypress tanks, that 1,300-gallon cypress tanks, and then we have like 7 stainless steel fermenters.
Gotcha. So how does that work, right? Like whenever you're switching, mash bills constantly,
Yeah.
or are you trying to make a run of like 2 or 3 days straight of something?
Yes.
How does that work?
So I try to do a run of like if I have a contract for 500 barrels, that's what I would try to get those 500 barrels done first before I go into my next recipe. It's
Gotcha.
more batch style.
Okay. All right. So you're basically using all of your mash tunes at the same time then to get your fermentation done. Then you're moving as much as you possibly can. So when you're talking about the 1,300-gallon mash tune, the cypress ones, about how many barrels do you get out of that of whiskey?
It range between 6 to 8.
6 to 8. Okay. So you're looking 6, 8, 12, 14.
Yeah.
And what about the
each
the
cook is
stainless
6 to 8 barrels.
ones? Gotcha. But then you have the stainless ones. Are they the similar size or?
The 4 in the back are 2,700 gallon,
Okay.
and the 4 and the 3 in the front are 5,400.
Gotcha. So you can pretty much, once you get it all cooked, you pretty much have enough to make a run of like probably 60 to 80 barrels at that point?
Yeah. So they won't always finish out at the same time, but we can do. I can probably, roughly, because each of the 3 big ones can take 2 cooks at a time.
Gotcha. Okay. There you go. That's pretty neat.
Do any of your contract companies, do they ever say, hey, we want the cypress or we want this only stainless?
No, that hasn't ever happened.
Okay.
The cypress are mainly for tourism, mainly.
Really?
Yeah, the tourists love the cypress.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's an old method, right?
Yeah.
Like anytime you see, when you think of bourbon, you think of history and heritage, right? Like it's very it's almost romantic. That's the romantic part of bourbon, right? Like it's the history point. Like, oh, they've been doing this for forever, and you're doing it the same way they did it in 1875 or whatever.
It's part of the history, the magic, the je ne sais quoi.
Exactly, 100%. So I could see where that being a big part of the actual like dog and pony show, as I guess you would call it.
Yeah. And your Cypress mash or your Cypress tanks, what was their original life?
What I was told they were water towers originally.
Really?
That's cool. I love it.
Water towers.
Yeah, it's like pressure on top of a building to keep the water pressure up.
Oh, shut the front door. That's kind of cool.
That must have been an interesting conversation. Hey, you're retiring that water tower. Can I buy that? And I'm going to put mash in there.
All right. Our founder loved buying used equipment.
Yeah. It's funny. A buddy of mine owns a small brewery, and they use dairy equipment as their brewing, as their brewery. So kind of crazy. All right, what's the third one we're sipping on today?
That should be our Whiskey Row Triplewood.
The Whiskey Row Triplewood. That's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot to say.
So why do they call it Triplewood?
Scott, this was also when we were up there and he was deciding which ones that we are going to pull out here. He's like, we have to go for the Triplewood. That is a really cool story.
Gotcha.
It's a sherry cask. I'm pretty sure it's 3 different casks but they weren't really put into the wood. It was like an artificial age for a couple of them.
Gotcha. Okay, so it was like sherry, port, whatever, and then like okay, any French oak, or is it all just American oak or whatever?
I'm pretty sure it's all American oak.
Gotcha. The nose on this thing is it's funny you said that because I was like, there's a weird fruity note I couldn't pick up right away. Also very reminiscent of
cognac and sherry.
Yeah, cognac and sherry.
Mm-hmm.
Love me some cognac.
You do like the yak.
I do. I so do.
I like Armagnac better than cognac.
Yeah,
I like all the yaks. I like Armagnac. I like cognac. My favorite, honestly, is more and more becoming Calvados. Like that pear brandy is just, it just hits different.
In this release, when was this released? Like
that, very recently.
And it shows it's at 90 proof. And then what kind of age can we expect with this?
4 year.
Then I'm a fan of the nose.
Now, what's the mash bill in this? Because I'm getting a little of that more hay in this one.
I am not 100% sure on that one.
Is it a blend as well?
I think so.
Okay.
We didn't on that side. We didn't do like. I'm pretty sure it's ours, but I don't think we personally like. It was like brought to us, and we didn't personally do.
Gotcha.
The blend.
Gotcha.
I would imagine that there being a contract distiller, and some of the volatility of the industry right now that's going around with bourbon. I imagine there's probably been a few times that either you've had to be in the middle process of a contract or place closes down. Now you have to figure out what you're going to do with the leftovers. There's
been a couple times where like a brand goes under, and then we have their barrels, and we have to figure out what we're going to do with them. It has happened a few times.
This is cool, and it shows that the price points is roughly $50.
Yes.
Yeah, and your tasting notes show grape, raspberry, seasoned oak, black currant, and fig. I don't disagree with any of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. The palate, I get the cocoa.
Yeah.
I get that on the palate, which is, as a guy that enjoys sweets and carbs, that's a fun thing for me.
As a fat guy, I really like anything that is like sweet, like currant. Currant's always one of those weird adjunct flavors that you're like currant. Like where have I had currant? Like what do I have?
Where'd you pull this one
exactly,
from?
Yeah, where
jam.
I mean, yeah, it could be, but black currant's different than regular currant. Then you have currant's just something you don't typically see a lot especially in American cuisine, right? So like when somebody says it, you're like, where did you eat currant?
There's times where I think the tasting notes can be a little bougie, or like they're just grabbing for straws.
Yeah, some people do. It's it definitely is a unique thought process. But I always say that you tie your tasting notes to memories, and some people have lived more like cool lives than other people, right? So
fair enough.
I always say, like, whenever I taste things, when I tie it to a memory, like, I do have some weird stuff that I've had memories of because of time I spent in Europe or times that I spent in Canada and things like that, where I'll get something. But I also tie a lot of it back to, like, when I was a kid. Like, when I get that leather note, like, it immediately reminds me of chewing on a baseball glove. You know, if any fat kid that's played right field, you know what it's like to, chew on a baseball glove.
Yeah, it almost tastes like beef jerky.
I mean, not as good as beef jerky, but yes, I mean, it does have that kind of chewy, like oily note.
But if you pour some soy sauce on and let it sit out in the sun, there's your beef jerky.
There you go.
Wow.
Extra salt. Yeah. Maybe that's just the sweat from your palms from sitting out on a 95-degree day.
Mm-hmm. I've had a few barrels tastings where it was like straight char and leather, and it was not very good.
Really?
Yeah.
I like leather. I really like leather as a note. But
I had a 50-year-old bourbon, and that was
yeah, I could definitely see where that would be an issue.
Yeah.
If it's straight oak, that's a totally different thing.
Yeah.
Kodie, if there are like 2 or 3 tasting notes that you absolutely adore, like what are there for you?
I love like a citrus. That's a big one I like. Clover is a good one.
Oh.
A alfalfa alfalfa reminds me of summer. That's a good memories of.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yep, yeah, the things that bring you back.
You like those fieldy green things. So you like rye a lot then?
Yes and no. I don't like extreme high rise because you get that bitter or like that sharpness that I don't like.
Mint, okay.
But I really do like weeded because it's smoother.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, we're the boat of we don't care for ryes that are like heavy, really heavy mint. Sometimes people can get with the dill, like from the MGP, the 95.5 can get that kind of dilly flavor. But for me, it's mint.
There's been a couple where it tasted like a grizzly,
Oh yes. Mm-hmm.
So this last one, the bottled and bond. So let's talk a little bit more about that. So where did this product come from, and then like what was the general inspiration, or like?
This is definitely ours. Whiskey made it Kentucky Artisan. It's something that Whiskey Row's always had, like a bottle and bond.
What's the mash bill on it?
It is. Ooh.
That's got to be tough because you had said 19 different mash bills got to stay organized up in your noggin.
Yeah, this one's I think the 85. It's a 3 grain. It's 85, 510, or it's a 4 grain. I think it's varied.
Huh. 85, 510. So is it 5% rye and then
10% malt?
10% malt.
Interesting.
That is a very different profile there.
You can tell a little bit of the corn forwardness in it from the taste.
It's definitely high corn. Definitely high corn. Reminiscent of grandma's cornbread sitting out on the stovetop after it came out of the oven.
I can get that.
Or corn pudding where you pick off like the crispy bits up on top.
Yeah.
So Chicago didn't have much cornbread or corn pudding. But when we'd go to visit my family in Ohio, it was always there, and that was my thing. Like I was the kid where once they poured it out of the container that it was cooked in, I took the fork and I scraped it against the side to peel it off. That's the nosy nose for this for me.
Brian, you always do weird stuff, man. What's up with that?
Have you met me?
Tell you. Can't hire good help these days, I'll tell you. But yeah, it's very like the corn forwardness of it. It's got is almost like a pear. It's a super light fruit on the nose.
I'm trying to think the kind of corn that I get. So if there's a such thing as a smoked corn, I kind of get that. But one that's more of a...
I mean, you have the street corn that's out there that's not quite smoked, but it's a good cooked corn.
Like the little charred corn, like in the husk and everything?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, you can do street corn like that, some of the retailers, but then, I was one that, whenever we went out camping and we had corn, we left it on the husk. We would pull it back a little bit, throw a little bit of butter in there, but then we'd close it back up, still in the husk, and then set it next to the campfire, because that's how we had to cook it.
We always just threw it on the campfire. Like we'd throw like some aluminum foil down and then throw it on top of the aluminum foil. And then as it got warmer and warmer and warmer, then at the last bit, we would throw it directly in the fire and get a little char on it.
Oh, okay. I gotcha.
And run it that way. So, And it would always just come apart anyway, because once you got it steamed, that cooking happens, you know, it just come up. That's when we added the butter at the end. Just like we actually took the butter stick and we would roll it up and down, you know.
Oh yeah, I still remember the old gadget where you would just long clear plastic. You'd put the whole stick of butter in, and it was just kind of arched at one end, and you just run it back and forth.
Oh, you used to running it back and forth like
yeah,
that?
just like that.
That's fair.
For 100 proof, the finish after like your second or third sip, it's got some finish. You can feel some of the heat to it. It's not a discerning or off-putting. It's a nice heat that lets you know that you're drinking a whiskey.
Yeah, for sure. And what's the age on this?
4 years.
4 years old. Okay. Trying to figure out. There's something else on the palate I've been really just trying to grab at.
I get where you get the pear from, because like my glass is empty, so that's kudos to you for that. And like now, like the pear thing kind of comes through.
Right.
Like the pear skin,
Yeah. The not quite as sweet one. Is it the Boss pear that's a little bit like, because I think the Bartlett is the one that's a little softer and sweeter.
I was not much of a pear guy, so
Gotcha.
I can't say much.
Yeah, most people can't handle the texture.
Oh, it wasn't about the texture. I just thought, for the longest time, I remember as a kid, I just thought it tasted different. So, I mean, I could do it in like fruit cocktails, but I was like, it would. But I never actually. I always thought it was apple and fruit cocktails, and then somebody says, no, it's pears.
I always get like a stone fruit kind of, sometimes with pear.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh well, yeah. I can pick that up. What you're saying. Yeah. For me, stone fruits are like, I immediately go towards like peach or apricot. And then sometimes you think more of your other pitted fruits like cherries or things like that. But those are typically your more dark fruit notes. So
The facility that we're in, so how long has this been open?
We've been open since 2012.
gotcha.
Okay.
At the
And-
clubhouse too?
No, the clubhouse just opened this year around February.
Gotcha. Okay.
All right. Now, what things can they do at the clubhouse?
At the clubhouse, you can do a tasting of. You can do a tasting at the from 5 different barrels, straight from the barrel. You can fill your own bottle from the barrel, or you can do cocktails at our bar, and do a flight there also.
What's the most popular cocktail that's sold here?
Our old fashioned.
Your old fashioned?
Yes.
Okay. Do you know what they make that with?
Your choice.
Your choice? Oh, you just pick your poison, huh?
Yeah.
I like that. I like it when I get to pick my own poison.
Yeah.
Brandy? I'm joking. I'm joking.
What is this, Wisconsin?
Yes, Wisconsin.
Good Lord.
My best bud's in Madison, so.
Go back to the Whiskey Row. I got the recipe.
Gotcha.
67, 12, 12 and a half, 12 and a half, 8.
Oh, so it is a 4
Brainer. Okay, that makes a lot of sense now.
Yes.
67.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah.
It's been a hot minute since I've had to make it.
No, that's fair. Yeah, it was weird because I definitely was very corn forward. I did get a little bit of spice, so I bet that must have been coming off that rye.
I bet you it was, yeah.
And all the grains that you all use, you mentioned in the a little earlier that they're within a certain geographic distance from where we're at.
Yes, our corn and rye are all from Waldeck, which is less than a mile down the road from us.
Oh, they're that close. Okay.
Yeah, they're
A lot of places are like, well, we get all of our grain within a 60-mile radius or something. You're like,
No.
it's 1.6 miles right that way.
yeah. Because when I originally started, we would I'd have to drive the tractor down to grab corn.
That's funny.
That's cool.
For one, he gets to drive the tractor, but for two, it's just like, well, I can get out there on the country road, drive that tractor down there.
Yeah. You felt like an American badass on there. You're pulling up your sleeves, showing off your tattoos if you have any.
That's right.
Oh, it was quite an interesting ride.
Kid Rock,
Probably-
cowboy hat. Do you put on the headphones?
We had a few employees that they had headphones and a cowboy hat.
That's
Yeah,
funny.
cut off denim shorts.
They probably would. They wish they could.
Hey, don't be hating on my jorts.
Oh, yeah. So jorts. Like you showed up, I'm like, that so fits. That is so Scott. He's wonderful.
Listen, my leg was hurt. I wanted to wear something like big where my foot could get in and out of it real easily.
You gonna go to the Walmarts afterwards?
I might as well. I got to take my shirt off to do that, though, right? Fair enough.
Cody, so you shared something about what you grow back at your house.
Oh yes, I grow some hops.
Hey, and I think that totally fits into the position that you've grown yourself into.
Yes. It's a little interesting. I need to be better at it. Do a little bit more trimming on them. Let them not get out of so crazy.
Oh, hops will go everywhere if you don't watch it. The funny thing is, like, hops are like, they're almost like clematis, right? Like, it climbs. Like, it'll go everywhere, and it'll just start, like, it'll start wisping off every which way loose if you'll let it. you know?
Every year it sprouts like little shoots everywhere.
Right.
And you just got to get on top of it and snip them.
Snip them, and then make sure you're training them to go the right way.
Yeah, I have 4x4s, and then I have like a steel cable that goes across them, and then just twine that they climb up.
Super fun. Super fun.
I dig it. Yeah, as soon as you said that, Scott was walking over. I'm like, this guy, he grows his own hops. You're like, ooh.
Yep. I tried growing my own hops. I was not very good about it because I was not good at, like what he said, like you've got to tame it, right? Like, I mean, one time I grew some Challenger, so I threw it in the ground like, oh, great, this is going to be super fun, blah, blah, blah. And then the next thing you know, it was everywhere. And I was like, oh my God, what happened? Like, and it's a lot to manage, So when you said you had like 5 strains going, I was like, this dude is nuts. Like, what is he doing?
Yeah, it's a little,
it's a lot.
It gets a little crazy.
Yeah.
Especially a few of them are a little out of hand. I need to get better at it since with all this rain, they've gone way out of control.
They will climb and climb fast.
Yeah, I can only imagine your wife with her background, her passion, and her profession. She probably doesn't like to see them grow a little out of whack.
No, I mean, since she does it all the time at work, she finds it a little annoying, but not too bad.
There you go.
Good. Yeah, got a
Good woman.
happy.
Good woman there.
Amen to that.
What's the favorite saying? Behind every great man's a better woman.
Yep. Yeah. The secret to a successful life, marry up.
Yeah. There you go. 100%.
Yes.
And here we are.
Fair enough.
Word.
Anyway. All right. So let's talk a little bit more. Everybody's like, well, I don't have a favorite kid. Everybody's got a favorite kid, right?
Yeah.
Like everybody does. You don't like to admit it, but everybody's got a favorite kid. So when you sit back and you think about the mash bills you've done, the things that you've distilled, different things like that, is there one that's just like near and dear to your heart? Like whenever you make it, you're like, you know what? I really like this.
I have a few, I would say. But yes, I got to say, I like the 70-20-10, but that's just because I love a weeder.
You love a weeder?
Yeah.
Okay. That's fair. Well, so what is it that you like about it? Now, see, I could tell you 100% why I would like to distill it more than anything else is because anytime you add rye to anything, it makes it messy and cloggy and nasty, whereas wheat isn't quite as bad. And so is there any other particular reason why that, other than the fact that you just enjoy to drink wheated bourbon better?
It is, honestly, it is easy to work with, yes. But it's also one that's easier to mess up.
Huh.
Because wheat can be a very, it's a grain that can easily be tainted.
Right.
And so it's, because you can easily get a geosmin taste out of wheat, or someone mishandles wheat especially here in Kentucky. It can be an annoying grain to work with because it spoils a lot easier than rye.
Gotcha. Huh. I didn't know that. Is that because of the enzymes or the lignins or
just
anything
more
else?
growing?
Just more of the growing. Okay.
Yeah.
Is there a particular moisture content when you guys are pulling those grains or getting those in that you guys like to stay within?
We like to stay around 12.
Around 12. Okay. So you like a little bit more of a lower moisture point.
Yeah, that's something that's been happening more. We need to keep it around 12. More research has been going through that geosmin is more higher the moisture it is, the more chances of geosmin taints you can have in them.
Gotcha. Okay. That makes more sense because, obviously with that more liquid, it gives you a little bit more of that mustier, more of that moldy profile that come in with that. So that makes sense.
And then also the higher the moisture, the more time it's going to clog up your equipment. It's all-ish.
Gotcha. Fair enough.
So one question that we kind of like to ask is, if it's the end of the world, you're just bitten by a zombie. You have maybe an hour left to be yourself. Is there a pour that you would go to as your last drink?
And it doesn't have to be what you make. It could be any bourbon in the world.
Anything.
Or it could be tequila. I don't care what it is. Just like, is there something that you're like, that's what I would want my last drink to be?
I never really thought about it.
It's all right. It's every now and then we like to ask that question.
Like throw them curveballs at you.
Yeah, that's because there's
probably a lot of good stuff out there.
It's
but
not
which one
that
is
it's
gonna be
good. It's just so many memories are tied to it.
Okay, absolutely.
Perfect. What is it?
It's a logboat. It's a logboat snapper from where I'm from. It's a brewery. It's there.
Okay.
And because I would think there's so many memories with that beer.
Logboat Snapper.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to look this. I'm gonna have to Google this. Like, is it like a local
lager?
distillery?
yeah, it's a Missouri distillery. It's out of Columbia, Missouri,
Gotcha.
and one of theirs is it has a turtle on it. It's like a snapping turtle on it, called Snapper.
Is it a lager?
No, it's an IPA.
IPA. Okay.
And this is why the dude grows hops. Now the secrets come out.
And out of curiosity, of the 7 hops that you grow, are any of those part of that lager that you love so much?
No, I do not know the mash bill of.
You've never asked?
I've never asked.
Do you want to know?
So when you go back, is that going to be like one of the first questions?
I should,
you ask?
yeah.
I mean, now that you're like in the business, right?
Yeah.
Like you make beer all the time. You just make distiller's beer, right?
Yeah.
You'd be like, dude, what do you use? Like, I mean, to me, that would be something I'd have to ask somebody.
I just never, because every time I go there, I'm
you just
like,
want to drink it.
Yeah.
So when you go back, and do you still have family back there in Columbia?
I personally don't have much family left there, but my wife lives there. Her family lives there.
And when you go back, will you stop and get a 6-pack, a 12-pack?
I should, yes, because they sell it at every gas station.
Oh, God.
Oh my gosh!
Local gas station.
Yeah, I love gas station chicken, gas station corn dogs.
You like gas station anything.
Yeah, absolutely.
Your inner fat kid is strong. I mean,
And my
robust.
outer fat kid is robust. I love, I guess, that again. And sometimes I wish we had video, because when I asked the question, the smile came out. You're like, because they sell it at all the gas stations.
They do.
It's like gestational diabetes in a can. Like,
That's
oh,
beautiful.
goodness, man. Oh. So, all right, to be respectful of your time, because you did come in on your day off, man. We greatly
all good.
appreciate that. How do people find you guys? How do they come and do a visit or a tour or a tasting, all that type of stuff? Give us the background on how people can come to KAD and do all those things.
I mean, you could always come visit us personally. You know, Kentucky Artisan. We're on the Mint Julep. We're on all the tours, the bourbon tours that
Bourbon Trail.
Yeah, Bourbon Trail.
Yep.
We're on that, of course. Other than that, I mean, that's
Like KentuckyArtisanDistillery.com. Can you book a tour through there?
Yeah, you can book your tour through KentuckyArtisan.com.
Okay. And then what about socials? Like, are you guys on Facebook, Instagram, all that good stuff?
Oh,
or-
yeah. We're let's see what our Instagram is. I think for sure it's only Kentucky Artisan.
I'm trying to remember if it's under KAD, because that's what a lot of people that are within all this, we refer to as KAD.
Right.
Because otherwise it's a bit of a mouthful. And I always mess up that middle word.
Artisan?
I always want to fancy it up. And it doesn't come
Artisanal?
up.
What are you trying to go
That,
with?
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always mumble through that.
I hate when
Oh, yes.
Artisanal.
like when you call someone and you're saying, you know, they'll when they say your pork back to us and they say artisan or
Artesian or whatever, yeah. Artisanal. Yeah, there's all kinds of words. Yeah. But Kentucky Artisan Distillery.
Yeah, it is KY Artisan Distillery on
KY.
Instagram and Facebook.
Well, good deal. So, Kodie, thank you so much for spending some time with us. If you want to find Bourbon Barrel Talk, you can find us on Facebook, the Instagram, or the X. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. That way you get our episodes as soon as they drop on Sunday mornings. Make sure you email us any questions to bourbonbarreltalk@gmail.com. If people want to contact you, can they just send you an email or things like that if they have questions about KAD or things like that?
Yes, of course, the long email name, but ktaber@kentuckyartisan.com.
ktaber@kentuckyartisan.com. And Taber is Taber.
Yes.
All right. Well, that's our episode. Thanks for joining us. This is Scott, Nick, Brian, and Kodie signing off. Peace.
Prost.
To infinity.